via Voice Radio with Wisconsin Voices. We are back with the team on another overcast Tuesday, but we're gonna go ahead and make it look good. Of course, I want to say hi to my team before they introduce themselves. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning,
Brian.
Good
How
morning.
y'all feeling?
What? I'll let Toya speak for herself this morning, but I'm feeling good. But we gotta look out for our team.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. So, Toy, what's going on with you? How you feeling?
I'm here.
Yeah.
I say that I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Everybody been pretty active this week. We already started the week hitting the ground running with partnerships and creating and dealing with the dynamics of trying to bring in not only our team through our busy weeks, but making sure that we are connecting with our partners. So I think that it's gonna be a little challenge just trying to reconnect some of these relationships and get everything right. Everybody got so much going on,
Mhm.
in their own little worlds when
Especially
it comes to
summertime.
and building up organizations. And I did talk to one partner yesterday as well, and she did say that she may have some things coming up soon, and they'll be reaching out. I believe that was Miss Cross.
Okay.
I can't remember the organization right off the bat. I feel bad, but I know you.
Metcalf Park.
Was that Metcalf?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I did talk to her yesterday. She was saying that she was gonna get back to us. But I think just figuring out what y'all got going on, how we can get y'all to come up and promote, and don't be radio shy because we want to make sure that
Man, that's
Yeah,
one of
you
the
know.
main things, Brian.
I had a couple people tell me like, I don't know if I want to
Yesterday,
get on
like
the
I don't
radio.
know if I want to get on the radio. I ain't sure about that.
That's a free blast out for our partners. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a great opportunity for them to come on and talk about some of the great things they do in our community.
Once you guys get up here and get to the radio, you'll find out it's pretty comfortable. We have a great production team.
And we not putting you on the spot or anything.
Yeah, none of that.
Wow.
Whatever you got to share, whatever you are expecting to handle, whatever you're expecting to represent or present to city about your organization, you should do that with confidence, and you should do that with all the energy that you have for all what you've been putting into your organization. It should be the same energy coming out when you're speaking about it. So please come up here and let us know what you got going on. Outside of that, what else is going on in our worlds lately, either work related or
Well, I
nonpartisan,
talked to
politically
a
wise.
partner yesterday,
Mhm.
Mabel from Sherman Park
Yeah.
Association, and they have a lot going on. They've been doing a lot in the community in the Sherman Park area. That's up there around Sherman Park by Burleigh and Locust, in between Burleigh and Locust, and Sherman up to 41st Street, I think that is.
Mhm.
But she also was interested in the situation with the school board, and she's going to come on the show convincingly to talk about, and she's gonna she said she would like to bring some teacher specialists and all, and talk about MPS.
Okay.
So that's a good healthy conversation that we do need to have. And like I was telling her yesterday, people have mixed opinions about MPS. Some people say that it needs to be, overhauled, revamped. Some people say, they need more support. And then, like on her view, I looked at it yesterday from her view, and she was saying we need more parents' participation. When you have school, the parent teachers conference, you don't hardly see parents. When the students go home at night doing their homework, you don't have no parent participation. So she has some interesting points of view, and I would love for us to have her and her guests on to really talk about that.
I think one that really stood out to me, just in the ones that we've met so far, we have a lot more to go. But the one that stood out for me was the Milwaukee Food Council, and just the great work that they're doing. We see it every day, every Wednesday when we go down to Atkinson Food Pantry and we hand out food down there. It seems like the lines get longer and the food gets smaller and shorter. So having that access to food and having that resource, and we have a lot of food deserts within the city too. So that's just one that stood out to me so far in the ones that we've met with.
Yeah.
I agree. That was interesting because we do have food crisis here in Milwaukee. We don't have a lot of grocery stores and fresh vegetables to offer. So yeah.
All right.
Well, look who the wind
We
blew
got our
in.
guest today. Our guest today on the radio is Tamika Vukovic from Wisconsin Voices and sits on the Alderman seat in
Oh,
Glendale. How are you doing today, young lady?
I'm well. How are you? I'm so glad to
Appreciate
be
you for coming
here.
in today, being one of our guests. We we don't get too many too often. I know you're not shy on the mic, so go ahead, tell us a little bit about yourself. What's been going on this week?
Well, my name is Tamika Vukovic, and I am the co-executive director of a wonderful organization called Wisconsin Voices.
Okay.
Um, yes, I am an alder in the city of Glendale, and but I really love my community, and I take pride. It is a cause, and I am in
Amen.
this cause.
And this call is deep too.
I think we all
You
are. I
heavy in
think
the game now.
Now,
you can't be a nonprofit work without having a cause and something behind you to really fight for.
Yeah, because
It's
it's
just
like, what you doing?
it's like those kind of people that I meet that are in leadership within nonprofit organizations always have that drive and
Mhm.
that gusto to really make a difference.
so here's the thing. The reason I said that, cause. I was having a conversation with one of my mentors today. And what does a cause mean? Because for you, what does a cause mean? I mean, I'd like each of you guys to kind of say, and then I'll tell you what my conversation with her was, and it kind of opened my eyes a little bit. Well, not that it changed, but it was just interesting.
Mhm.
For me, it's a purpose. For me, a cause is a purpose.
Elaborate a little bit.
It's a passion, a concern, something that you see the lack of. So, dealing with nonprofits, a person tends to start or support a nonprofit because they are supportive of their causes, um, what they're doing.
I think it's more of a belief in something. It's when you strongly believe your values or in the core of your own being that something is just or unjust, right? Because we can have we can fight causes either for or against something, but to me a cause is a belief and a deep running belief.
Yeah, and I would say, backing up just what they're saying, like, having that purpose, or that, what is that thing that has happened in your life, or what is that uh impactful moment that has pushed you to want to be able to see different things going on in the community. And for me, it's multiple things that I've seen in the community that drive me to want to be a part of something and helping
Mhm.
organizations like Wisconsin Voices and like the other ones that we, passionately work with ourselves. I've seen people not being able to work and struggling to figure out their skills. So that made me have a passion for helping people get back to work, getting people clothing, and seeing people need food all across the city, and people need other services too, to learn how to properly drive, to learn how to properly walk around with the, identification, or just the overall awareness of what's going on in the community and who are the leaders that you should be talking to and the ones that you should begin to know. Those are all things that I tie in, I feel are important for us to continuously to develop as a people in our community.
So this is a conversation that me and my mentor had, which all of those things that you guys said are absolutely correct, and those are your truths. So
Mm.
I don't want to dismiss them whatever at all. But some of the people who do this work, it's not necessarily a cause, it's a fight for life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for instance, I know sometimes people say, you know what, and especially when it comes in the political realm, I am behind this cause. But here's the thing, if this cause doesn't work or it doesn't get implemented or whatever, will their lives really change? A lot of people are like, oh, I'm behind this cause, I believe in this cause. But if the cause doesn't push through, you know what I mean? If it doesn't work out, will their lives change?
Mm-hmm.
It all
Where
depends.
in some situations, this is not a cause. If they don't get this, their lives change dramatically,
Mm-hmm.
or they it affects their way of living to the point of like eat, sleep, breathe type of
Mm-hmm.
things. So some of these people, and we were talking in this, how some people say, you know, I'm going to, when they vote for instance, they say, I'm writing in a candidate. I'm going to write in a candidate. That's my right. And that is your right.
Mm-hmm.
Then some, but not choosing one of the two people that are legitimately going to be on the ballot, are you still exercising your rights? It's like, are you seriously exercising your rights when you know that when you put Mickey Mouse on there, when Mouse is not a registered write-in, because in the state of Wisconsin they have to be a registered write-in for your vote to count. So it doesn't matter if there was 2,000 people who voted in an election. One voted for the candidate that was actually on the ballot, and the 999 wrote in Mickey Mouse or even a legitimate name, Tamika Vukovic. If I haven't registered to be a write-in candidate, that one person is still going to win.
Mm-hmm.
So technically, are you faking the funk when you say I'm putting in a write-in candidate when it's not going to matter if that write-in candidate is not registered? So are you really making a statement or are you chickening out? Oh, wait a minute. Carvey got something to say. Come on, come on. Yeah, come on in. Because, we like to hear the young people. Go ahead.
Okay, so my mama might kill me. Don't listen, mom. But my mama taught me this, that if she don't vote for nobody that's on there, she'll literally put Martin Luther King or something like that. And what you just said, like, that literally don't make no sense. Like, you should have stayed at home type thing.
I don't want people to stay at home, but that's
what it
essentially
is.
what you're
But
doing.
you're really not voting
Yeah.
for anybody.
That's what it is.
So you really should have just stayed at home.
So
I would
Now
I
that
would
I-
prefer. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, now that I know that, I'm gonna make sure I pick out of somebody that's registered.
Yeah, pick
Mhm.
somebody that
Yeah,
is
that's
registered.
real.
Now, here's the thing. Anybody, according to the state of Wisconsin, anybody who wants to be a write-in candidate has the Friday
Mm.
before the election day to be a write-in candidate. And all you have to do is register to the state of Wisconsin, put in a little paperwork, and you are a write-in candidate. That's a registered person. That is somebody that technically, even though they may not, but I think Theo Lipscomb back in the day when he ran for county supervisor, there was something that happened in that no one got enough signatures or something like that, and he did a write-in campaign and actually was on the county on the county board for years, and then actually became the county board chair. But he won by a write-in campaign. Write-in campaigns do sometimes work if you got the power to do it. But if you are writing in candidates when they're not registered, that's and this is my opinion. No, it's a wasted vote because and I hate to say this, but it's a wasted vote because it will never be. Yes, you have marked that you went to vote, but it doesn't count for anything one way or the other. You are not putting in your vote.
But your vote. Just
a Um,
neutral vote.
Right. So when we talk about, so going back to it's a cause, I'm taking a stand. I laugh at people sometimes when they say, I'm taking a stand on this. You're taking a stand on what? You're not trying to mobilize, you're not trying to organize, you're not trying to educate people on what your issue is. I'm just taking a stand.
Hey, I always ask them when they say that to me, I'm taking a stand. Did you take a stand and vote in the primaries? No, I didn't vote. So you're not taking a stand. If you wanted somebody in that you like, you would have voted in the primaries. And actually, because that's where you get a hoister of people that you can pick from. So if you would have voted in the primaries, then I would see you taking a stand if you didn't get somebody that you wanted. But most people, when I ask that question, did you vote in the primaries? Most people don't vote in the primaries.
Here's the thing. If you want to take a stand, this is what you do. You find somebody, you find what you want to stand in. what you want to stand for. Find a like-minded candidate. Then find some people who want to support that like-minded candidate. Then you help them get elected. But we are so lazy sometimes in this, and we love to blame elected officials. We like to blame the system. We like to blame the Republican Party. We like to blame the Democratic Party. We like to blame whatever they can. There's infighting within the Republican Party. There's infighting within the Democratic Party. But at the end of the day, are we really working to solve the problem? Or is it, have you ever, people who are obstructionists that love to obstruct,
just
even if it's a great idea,
creating the confusion.
They just like to create confusion just because.
I don't know what the game plan or why they stick those people. And I feel like in every industry across the country, you got those people that come in and disrupt when everything can be free flowing.
And it's not, I know you find people, in your neighborhood around that. Like when you have those, I think a couple of shows ago, we were talking about when people go try to get licenses for different businesses they have in there. And then there's those one or two people who, just because they don't use that particular establishment or they don't, then it shouldn't be there. But when a bunch of other people who may not have time to do it, to come in and testify or say, yes, I want this here, or I'm not going because I'm okay with it. But we listen to the 2 or 3 people that show up when everybody else knows about it and they haven't taken the time. They're like, I don't care one way or the other.
It seems like that happens at those licensing meetings I sometimes tune into from Milwaukee, city of Milwaukee. It would be like 2 or 3 people with the strongest opinions. Yeah, it was 26 shootings right there, and woo. And then you be thinking about like all the hundreds of people that go to these, patronize these establishments, and you don't see none of them folks. They don't know anything about it, but that's that being one, like you said, being lazy, not researching and knowing what's going on in your community, and knowing if you want an establishment to stick around, especially if you know it's not directly their issues, you should support it. But a lot of people don't even tune into that, and some people be sitting at home. A lot of means I done ran into a couple on accident, just logged in like, oh shoot, they talking about so and so, and a lot of time, with all the evidence, it doesn't work in that organization's favor.
I saw
or
it
that company's favor.
I saw it when I was on council as well. We would hold committee meetings, public hearings, even the regular council meetings, and maybe 2 or 3 people would show up. And it was usually the same 2 or 3 people that were there week after week after week.
Yep.
And until you have one of those hot button issues, and then the standing room only, until you get that one issue that everybody is like upset in an roar about, then they pack the place out and want to make sure that their elected officials hear exactly what they have to say. But, I would love to see, I always said, I would love to see consistency where you hear for the committee meeting, were you here for the 2 meetings prior that we were talking about this issue?
Right.
Where were you in those discussions? You show up on the 3rd reading of the legislation and expect everything to change. You weren't here through the process.
Right.
I actually get that. Tonight I have a CDA meeting which is the Community Development Authority. What in the city of Glendale, I don't know what they do, if it might be different in Milwaukee, but in the city of Glendale, what they do is they decide on tips. Anything that is if we're going to allow a tip, and that's when a tax incremental district. Now, all of our tips that we have had in Glendale have all been environmental cleanup. Why? Do you want to know why they always been environmental cleanup, Joe, Latoya, Brian? Do you want to know why?
Sure.
Because Glendale is literally built on a wasteland.
Yeah, it is built
if
on a
it
wasteland.
if it wasn't a dump, it was a place where the trash, or it was a manufacturing place where they were dumping stuff. Literally, as we build, we have to clean up or do some mediation on the environment.
Somebody pulled up some cans just real quick from a old company here in Milwaukee, and it was their name was crazy. You might have seen the picture of the can, but they pulled it up from a waste, like digging somewhere in Glendale, and it was from a company. And I was like, man, it's really just waste all throughout. And that's crazy. Every time y'all
Decades and
so every
decades.
time so every time y'all build something, Tamika, y'all find a pile of just waste everywhere.
We
Huh?
when they tore down City Hall to build the new City Hall, they had this whole, great plan. It was a great plan. So they started digging it down, and all of a sudden they found a whole bunch of tires that were
Oh
there.
my God.
These are old tires, and they had to literally, that cost thousands and 1000s of dollars to either bring in new soil, clean it up, clean whatever. So these districts, what they do is they kind of let them pay, they kind of loan or borrow the money from the city, and they pay it back in increments. So for instance, if your property is worth $500, you just say that's the taxes. But once you fix it up, we're still going to allow you to pay that $500 tax. But they, it'll increase in value, but we're still allowing you to do this so you can pay us back off, but also trying to put more money back into the project. We have a caller, and
Mhm.
hello, caller. Do we know who you are?
Oh, you do. You better go easy, saying. I don't want Mr. Husband there thinking that I'm. So you better go kind of easy with that. There. What's it, Tamika? What's up, girl?
How you doing?
What's up, Miss Latoya? What's up,
How you
Mr.
doing?
Mr. Joe
Hey, how you doing?
and Mr. Brian and all,
Oh,
Mr.
you got
Ryan?
Hey, you got
everybody.
us. What's
Everybody.
going on?
I let Mr. Ryan out know he got to get that citrus in him. He was sounding like Mr. Scarby there for me. I told him my dad was my dad's favorite was getting the lemons and putting the little red and green peppermint circles in them and sucking on the lemons. And he always had a clear voice, but he still smoked though. But that was his downfall. His pig feet and his smoking. That's what did him in.
Okay.
But yeah, it's got to be about citrus. It's got to be about lemon juice, orange juice, lemonade. I do that stuff all year round. I do lemonade in the summer. I do lemons and orange juice throughout the year. And you can hear me coming through loud and clear like I am right now. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. All right. But anyway, yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. Question to what you was talking about. Other than the fact that and condolences going out to all the people that were injured with the incident and all, with the shooting and all in Pittsburgh. But and people at the convention, I hope that you're having a good time while you're here. Welcome to the city, on my behalf, and I hope you enjoy yourself. I hope you have some good things to take back with you when you go back where you're going about our city. But now, do we lose or do we win as a whole? Yes, you got to vote. But as a country, other than the financial gap getting wider between the rich are getting richer, poor getting poorer, do we win or lose as a country with either one, Republican, Democrats, independent, whatever? I mean, yes, you got to vote, but I mean, shouldn't they be doing something for the country, regardless if they're Republican or Democrat? The country should win. Now, the rich getting richer, well, yeah, you got to start handing some of that money down to us too, because you're taking taxpayers' money, and they're benefiting from that too, from different things, the military and all that. So the rich are benefiting from that taxpayer dollar too. To close that gap some, though, if we're all voting as a country and we need to come together as a country like they're talking about now, especially after this last shooting, uh, I mean, the country should be winning whether we're Democrat or Republican if you're trying to do what's right for the country as a whole. So that's what I got to say. I mean, Republican, Democrat, Independent, Green Party, whatever, dog catcher party, whatever. The country, the country should come up all over, not just some rich people or whatever. There, just everybody should come up. And I'll listen to you over the air. Then, thank you. All y'all can have a shot at it though, as far as answering it. Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
thank
Love
you.
you all. Thank
All
you.
right.
Love
Much
you
love.
too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I That's an interesting way he put this.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm 53, so there's people who are older than me, and I've been like knowing and voting consistently, not as consistency when I was a little bit younger, but consistently when as I was growing up. And there's one thing that I always understood. whether you were Democrat, Republican, socialist, whatever. At previously in history, everybody wanted the same goals. Like they wanted their family to be safe, they wanted to clean water, they wanted to do whatever they needed to do to have a great quality of life. The difference is how you got there.
Mhm.
And that is the difference between some of these parties. It's they all want the same thing. Nobody wants anybody to get hurt. Or back then, nobody wanted anybody to get hurt or anything, but they wanted this kind of the same thing. How does that? And then they decided, through party platforms or politics, how do you get there? Now I believe it's not like that. It's like self-preservation almost. What can I get? What can I do? And that's something we're going to have to change over the next, 4 years, 6 years, whatever it is. But I think one of the things, the reason we have this radio show is to actually have these conversations. I know we have a small demographic compared to, other stations, or, we're not MSNBC or Fox News or any of that, but we do have a voice, and the people who call, we are listening to you. We are listening to your opinions. Sometimes people call and I'm like, I don't agree with them at all. But what we won't do is stop people from giving their opinions. Because that's not what we do. And that is, I guess that's the key to all this. You can have your opinions, your rights, whatever you think, but at the end of the day, if you don't go to the voting or the voting booth, if you don't vote, and you don't at least set an example of, even if your candidate loses, saying, but I took a stand, and now what I'm going to do over the next 2 years, 4 years, whatever the term is, if I don't like the person, I'm going to try to elevate the one that I do like. I'm going to keep them in the community. I'm going to try to fundraise for them. I'm going to do whatever I can. And one person doesn't have to do this. If you get, it might take a while to find 20 like-minded people like you. You find that 20. They find that 5 or 10 or 20. That grows a movement. And that will help you get elected people in that you want. It'll help you grow as a community and have some kind of, I don't know, I don't know. I'll figure out the word. We're going to take a break and then I'll come back with the word I'm looking for, maybe. I just don't know. This is Be a Voice with Wisconsin Voices, 860 AM, 106.5 FM. We'll be right back. I would like to say that this group of people have issues that they need to deal with. Back to the subject. Joe, you said something that was kind of profound.
Yeah, we were talking about the differences, and just back to what the caller was referencing. One thing I think that I've seen change over the political landscape over time is that politicians used to come up and say what they were for. Well, I'm for higher Medicare, or I'm for raising your Social Security. Now it's more about being against what the other person is. So you've seen those negative campaign ads and those attack ads, and it's not so much about what that person's for, it's about what they're against and their other opponent. Unfortunately, I think that's kind of the negative turn I've seen in politics.
And the one thing that I have noticed that on piggybacking, no one is coming up with solutions for the problem. So, for instance, I would love to see if a candidate said, this person is doing this. Like, let's see. I think one of the things is we are having issue with um, gun control or whatever. Um, some people say that it's their constitutional right and they should be able to carry a gun. Some people say, we should have some kind of regulations. But when issues occur, like even with the assassination attempt of former President Trump, are they looking at the situation and saying, here's how we're going to solve this so this never happens again? But they dig in their heels, and I find it kind of funny how now, why did he have this gun? But when school shootings happen, no, we can't regulate the guns. But on the other hand, why did he have the gun? And it was a legal registered gun.
Yeah.
He actually, from articles I read, he went to the firing range, and he was, I guess, a responsible gun owner.
Up until that point.
So it's like, I want to hear somebody say, if they're gonna say, you know what, I don't like this idea, here's my solution to the idea.
And I think you can also give testament to this, that as a council person, you hear so many of the problems. You hear, well, I have a problem with this pothole in this street, and that's what we want to hear that. But at the same time, it's also like you hear all these problems and well, what would be your solution for that? Was always my response was, well, what would be your solution? How do you think I should handle that best?
And have you ever got this? That's not my job. I said, but I'm only human. Now, I did have to say, there is a gentleman that lives right on like a half a block away from me. And he was constantly complaining that when they get to the stop sign goes, or people are lined up so much that they block his driveway, and it really shouldn't be that congested, but it blocks his driveway. And so I tried to, I talked to the city. We couldn't put a stop and go light up there. And I did actually try to find some ways to do it, but I couldn't think of a way. So he complained again. And I said, well, what would you do? He's like, you want to know what I would do? He said, I would put like a clear cut, if you're turning left or going straight, you're in this lane. And if you're turning right, you go this lane. Because people were coming right in the middle. And even if they were turning right, they couldn't, because it was no room, because they were waiting for the people to turn left. I said, huh. So I went to our workforce, or whatever it's called, whoever does the
Public Works.
Yeah, thank you, Public Works. They measured the city or the street, found out that they could put the lane there. We don't have backups like that anymore. And it was something that he gave me a solution. He complained about it. I tried to help, but I had, my brain, I'd wrecked my brain. And then he's like, well, why don't you try this? It was an amazing idea.
Yeah.
And if you come up with the idea, maybe it worked, maybe it doesn't work. But two things I ask: don't blame your city officials when they keep trying and it's not working, and then you don't come up with a help with the solution. Are you helping with the problem?
Yep. Because we can
You
name problems all day, right?
right.
We could look out our window and probably start naming problems, but all of us could in our personal life. But coming up with solutions to those problems, that's the tough part, and that's what we have to do as a community.
Yeah, it's global warming. Global warming. Are you trying to not use your lawnmower in the middle of the day? Are you trying to do it maybe before noon so it's not so hot? Are you trying to take public transportation when you can? Are you recycling? Are you doing all these things to help the problem?
Did you participate in no mo May?
Which I don't like.
Because it takes all of us to
I know I
to
voted.
enact.
I'm just being honest. I vote against no mo May every single year.
Well, why?
Huh?
Why?
Um, Twofold. Some people in my community don't like it, but the way some of the streets are, that grass gets super high
You
and
can't
you
see.
can't see to turn.
Okay.
And so there are some reasons why, I mean, in the middle of the street, yeah, but on those corners. And then also, people take advantage of that no more and they keep going. I think now we do it from the first through I think it's Mother's Day now.
Oh,
So they do
Memorial.
some of it, but this is a declaration that Glendale does. But now that's not popular with some people, but I weigh out the safety of my district over that. And I may jump on an environmental issue later that is more, that doesn't hurt, people. But, you know, and I've gotten hit for it many times for, things I did. I remember during a pandemic when they wanted to enforce um, masks and then have that become a ticket if they don't have their masks, because we really wanted people to wear their mask. But I was not for that. And I'll tell you why. I live in Glendale, and sometimes people are not so nice to people with melanin skin, and they find any reason to call the police. So I think Mayor Kennedy and I and a couple other we came to a conclusion like, yes, these are mandatory. We're going to say businesses, we're asking you to be mandatory. But when you tell somebody to put a mask on and they don't, that's the first warning. The police will come out, give them another warning. After that, it's not about anything but yourself because now you have been disruptive, and then therefore it is it's not a mask ticket. It's a
Disorder.
no, it's not. We didn't do disorder. You're trespassing because they have told you to leave without your mask. We gave you one warning. So that was everybody's. It was fair. It was equitable. Everybody got a chance the first time. Then when they called the police, that was the second time that the police would come and say, put on your mask or leave the establishment. If you dug in after that, it didn't matter if you were black, white, brown, whatever. You just being unruly, and then therefore you're going to get a disorderly conduct ticket or a trespassing ticket, rather than having that point where black and brown people were automatically called. They were called, and the police were called. So it's like some of those things that you think about as an elected, especially being one just me as a black alderwoman in a city that is majority white. You do think about that. So if you try to look at the equity piece, but that is what we should be talking about all the time. Where's the equity piece at it? There shouldn't, and when people say, oh, the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer, it's not saying, hey, rich people, give us your money because we're poor. We're saying fairly tax. So therefore, they pay their fair share. I pay my fair share. That is proportional and equitable. And everybody is getting treated fairly.
And we get something out of those taxes, right, Tamika? If we look to, and not that we need to model after other countries, but if you look at other countries that pay higher tax rates, they get better services. They get something for the money that they're investing in their country. They get free health care. They get free educations. They get all these things. They may pay a higher tax rate. Why can't we do that?
Why can't we get
Why can't we
infrastructure?
do
I'm
that?
so big on this infrastructure thing, man. It's embarrassing to look at how old school. I mean, we got a lot of areas that got fresh cement, new bridges, a couple new bridges in the country. But you look at all these other cities that have real infrastructure, real highway, high speed trains,
breaking your axle when you go down the highway,
breaking axles, right? All that, anything like any of that. I mean, even some of just the smaller things that they have when it comes to like keeping drivers alert on the freeway. I mean, some might be distractions, but at the same time, I mean, they're at least trying different things to, to keep people alive in their country. And I'm sure their crash rates are lower than ours. It's just a reckless country in a lot of ways.
there's
And spending.
there's so many I think and I'm keep using Glendale as an example because they have huge, but they have huge taxes. They already have a higher tax, income tax. I mean, property tax, especially Shorewood has one of the highest, things like that. And they still will vote yes to a referendum for their schools. Why? Because they value their schools. And even though, it might be contentious, they still value their schools, and they pass these referendums to put it on their tax bill. Sometimes they won't, but it's what you value that you're ready to pay for. Right. If you value the services, if you value the fact that you get your recycling every other week and your garbage once a week, but some people wanted, I want my recycling every week like my garbage. Well, that's going to cost money. So therefore, are you willing to pay into that system to give you a better quality of care?
And I think most taxpayers would say, yeah, I don't mind paying a little extra if I get the services out of my money for what I'm paying for.
I went down to the courthouse a couple of weeks ago, and I have to say, do you know those courthouses are nasty? It is gross sitting in a courtroom. They're nasty. I don't know if, and I'm just being honest, I don't know if somebody not cleaning, but it's dusty. It looks like it's clean because somebody cleaned the hallways. But when you go into the court, you can scratch. Have you ever scratched the dirt off the wood benches? When it's so much dirt. That is how I went into 3 different courtrooms just to go in, and you can scratch the dirt off of them. Why aren't those being cleaned? Why do we not have enough cleaning people? I mean, and those are jobs that you could, and actually those are jobs you could give people who are doing community service. Clean the courthouse. Would that cost us any more? Probably a little bit to coordinate that, but that's a community service here. Clean the courthouse, clean the courtrooms, clean the jury rooms, clean the bathrooms. I mean, it's a public service. It's something that is, so I don't know. Maybe I'm just, I don't know. Our Latoya always shakes her head at me and go, She just go,
I was just reading this article where they said Kroger was offering free food until July the 23rd.
Oh,
I'm trying to find out what they talking about.
See, we supposed to
Free
be
food.
here.
What?
Wait a minute. We are on the radio talking about politics and civic duty, and she over here. Oh, look, now everybody on their phone trying to find free food.
Free food.
Let me see. It doesn't say free food, really.
Is it real? Is it?
It's in Indianapolis.
Indiana.
Kroger is offering a selection of freebies and other perks to
Indiana
shoppers who
shoppers.
sign up for their company's paid membership plan before July 23rd. So I don't know if that's
nothing in life is free.
Nothing
in life is free.
Exactly. Except Nope, not even my love is for free.
Uh,
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
No, air ain't even free.
Cause
It sure ain't.
cause it's hot in here. I mean, it was hot in here and they got the air on, but that air ain't free because they gotta pay electricity. Is outside air free?
No, because of you got all type of carbon and some.
But it's still free. You can still breathe it. It might not be good. Oh, you pay for something.
You gonna pay for something.
They even
The
tax you when you
process
die.
to keep it free.
The death tax. I mean,
There you go.
they're going to even get you after you're gone.
Hey, whose side are you on? Mine or his?
Knock on your casket like, hey,
So I heard that there was some commotion down at the convention. I haven't really. I'm trying
got
to
it.
stay positive.
I got it
and-
for us.
But the one thing I did see, and we're going to talk about this when we come back, is that the third ward and some of those downtown businesses are a little upset because all the people
Uh-huh.
ain't exactly
They
hitting
ain't
their
out there.
spots. They ain't
Yeah.
hitting there. They ain't
I
making
just
no
seen-
money.
I just
We're
said
gonna
the
take
spot
a
was
break
crazy.
and then we'll talk about this when we come back. Be a voice with Wisconsin Voice. I'm telling, she was probably dropping that like it's hot. You know, it was hot yesterday.
Yeah.
Let me look at her.
Not
Look
dropping
me in
it
the
like it's
eye.
hot.
Look me in the eye. Let me see. Oh, my knees was hurt. I had to ice my shoulder this morning. I don't know if I was laying on it wrong, but I put this ice pack on. I was like, I'm so old now. I gotta put this.
Yeah.
Um
To go into what you was talking about with
with the people not
yeah.
going to third ward or down.
Yeah, and the two arrests that you was mentioning. I know you kind of like made a little nod to it yesterday, but the two people that was arrested was the one that was arrested. He was trying to get into that party that was close to the Summerfest grounds, and I guess he created an uproar. So he got disorderly conduct. Then you got the other person that somebody's gonna do it. They're gonna drive into a barricade. So somebody drunk drove into a barricade as well. And
somebody jumped over the fence by Turner Hall the by the Pfizer. And that was just purely because they wanted to see if they could get away with it, I think.
and it looks like some people was arrested doing some protesting yesterday as well. So looks like it's it's not as much as I think people were expecting, but going into the businesses too, though. Nobody's down there. I seen what's the guy from Channel 12? He went into a spot last night or at 3 a.m. It was a police officer, and that looked like it was it. He said news staff, but when he scanned, there was no news staff in there. It was just a police officer at the bar getting some coffee. There was nobody out at 3 a.m. in the morning.
Get coffee at 3 in the morning.
Yeah. But it was nobody else in there partying, which is crazy.
They get messed up, and I learned that trick. They get coffee for real.
they ain't down there doing nothing right now. It was dead.
Black people need to learn from that. When y'all get blown, come home from the club, stop at McDonald's and get some coffee.
I'm just actually surprised because like I've been to other conventions and they usually have all this after party stuff, but I guess people were sleepy. They went back to their beds. I mean, there's so many restaurants, activities. Some of these I think the bars can stay open until what, 4?
Certain ones can.
Yeah, it's only like 11 or something like that, or 2. It ain't that many.
They say the reason they pick certain ones, or is it?
They're like in the heart
within a certain
I think it's within the security
Right.
perimeter.
Okay.
I think it's within the security perimeter because I know. I think we have people that are in, that are staying at some of our hotels, and I think they can stay open until 3 or 4 in Glendale. All the bars, well, we don't have that many bars, but the restaurants and bars can serve until 4.
But how?
So that's the soft. That's not even in the soft perimeter.
Yeah, but that is because we have the hotels.
Okay.
There, the like I know there's a couple of news outlets that are staying there, and different organizations, but it's part of the RNC. So, and anybody who has hotels or something like that around that city, probably Wauwatosa, I think, did the same thing because they have a bunch of hotels, West Dallas.
How disappointing for some of our local businesses down there. These a lot of them are locally owned. They're small companies, locally owned mom and pop shops, restaurants, whatever, that were really hanging their hat on a big turnout for this and some added revenue. And it's disappointing to hear that it's not happening. I really wish that would have been one good thing we could have seen out of this.
But here's the other thing: they have to buy all the stuff in anticipation,
right?
And buying extra alcohol, buying extra food,
all and that inventory,
that inventory. And if it's not used,
you got to get rid of that food. Alcohol you can keep, but the food you got to get rid of.
No,
what's crazy too is,
right?
And if any of them are listening,
but
we can always use them at our pantries.
Right.
If there is anything left we can use them at our pantries.
I get that, guys. I just said that to Tamika. I get that. True, we could and they can donate, but you got to think about how that's hurting their business because they have to spend that extra money to anticipate that these people are going to spend money down there. And they all talked about how they're going to bring so much money, so much revenue to Milwaukee. They retrained their employees for like 14 months now.
It's not going to be that much revenue coming in because ain't no businesses open a lot of the businesses that are in the hard zone that are not in favor of the RNC being here, they're not going to be able to make no money off of it. Especially if you thought before it got announced, you were thinking like, oh, okay, it's going to be a free range and it's not going to be any perimeters. Nobody was thinking about perimeters and checkpoints. It just then created this military zoned type of event.
But Brian, that's like how that's not unusual. I mean, for a DNC RNC event, it is not unusual. I went to one of these conventions in 2020. There was a soft perimeter and a hard perimeter. Now you could go in and out kind of freely, but you had to go through checkpoints. But this is nothing unusual. So
it should
I bet
be.
you way more be open for DNC.
I mean, we shouldn't have to have that much. I know, I understand now. I seen what happened with Trump, but I mean, we got to get to a point as a country where that's what this country was about. People have their right to exercise their right to vote, and we should give. We shouldn't have to have all these hard, soft, and everybody perimeters. And people should have the right to protest if they want somebody to hear their protest. And they can only be in a soft place where nobody will hear them. That's why I said, what is the point? Our knees already bad. I'm not finna go down there protesting.
Oh man, no, yes,
and
you
they
are.
can't even hear me.
Yes, you will.
Yes,
You
you
know
are.
what? And the funny thing, well, we got about 5 seconds. But the funny thing is, if something really happened down there, she would take her whole body back down there and just ice it when we get home. I'll be right there with my shoulder. We're going to be good. We're going to be good. Thank you for listening to Be a Voice with Wisconsin Voices, 860 WNOV. We'll be back on Friday.